So Jonathan, I'm of a mind that if you're a collectible card game player and you don't have like several of these like sort boxes, right? Like you're just lying to yourself. You know, they're somewhere
Right.
in your house and
Yeah.
you need to get your cards sorted.
I've
I'm
got piles here on my desk.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I'm actually really excited about this because you are the founder of CardMill, and you're sort of the card sorting card organization to the plebs, as it were. And it's something that when I saw your pitch for it, I was like, this is an amazing product. Tell me how you came about that.
So so first, Zach, thanks for having me on.
Of
Right.
course.
And I think that for the story behind getting into CardMill, it can be really a long story, but to kind of shorten it up, I've been a player since the early 90s, so playing since Magic the Gathering first came out. At some point, I took a little bit of a break and then eventually started playing again with my friends maybe about 15 years ago or
A
so.
story as old as time. The mid 2000s break.
Right. And as everyone probably can relate that's playing cards, I just started collecting a mass of cards and putting them into boxes all over my house, similar to the box that you just showed, right? And I discovered the world of online trading. So I started doing lots of trading with people on Facebook, through another online portals and everything. And the biggest challenge I had was trying to get cards into an online inventory or get them somewhere so that I could really know what I have and what I can trade for. And so I'd sit there and I would type all of my cards into a spreadsheet or into an online inventory, or I'd scan each individual card with a phone app, and I said to myself, like, there has to be a better way to do this. And I went searching, and there are machines that do something similar that are geared more towards professional collectors and large stores, but they're extremely expensive.
Yeah.
From either the individual machine itself, but then also recurring monthly fees, and some of them are really big. And for me, I'm not going to go spend thousands of dollars and hundreds of dollars a month in recurring fees to catalog my cards. It's not that important for me, right? And so since I couldn't find anything out there, being a software engineer by trade my entire adult career, I'm like, I might be able to build something. So I went online, I bought myself a Raspberry Pi and started getting to work and started programming it, buying different pieces for it, connecting it here and there. 2 years, almost 2 years later, here we are, where we just launched our Kickstarter just under a week ago, and it's hitting waves.
Yeah, fully funded in what did you say, 24 minutes or something like that?
24 minutes. Yeah, it was wild. Yep, I remember I was sitting there watching it, and yeah, I set it to go live, and I just started watching. I'm like, oh, it's going. I'm like, okay, it's going. And I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to count the number, and it keeps changing. I think 3 minutes in, we were halfway to our goal already.
Wow.
3 minutes. Yeah, so it was a super exciting morning for us here, and yeah, and it's the last week has been really crazy, and we're very likely to hit $1 million in funding.
That's
either
amazing.
Tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah. As a former Kickstarter person, like the rush has to be just intense, right?
Yeah. We've been totally running off of pure adrenaline for
of course.
The last few days. And I think I finally have caught up to everything and to all the messages. One of the things that I've really tried to do throughout this entire process, even before the Kickstarter, was really to engage with the community and engage with everyone that's asking us questions. I tried to make it a point to respond to everything that I could same day. And so the rush of messages we've been getting over the last week, we've been up till close to 2-3 o'clock every morning, and then get up in the first thing in the morning to do it all over again. I think we're finally caught up now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, tell me about your team. You've got a collection of folks working on this with you.
I do, and I would not be able to do CardMill without the rest of my team. So, it's me, founder, of course, my amazing wife, Lindsay, who's the graphic designer, is making everything look pretty. I feel bad because I keep asking her for more and more stuff, and I think at some point she's going to get tired of it, but she's been making everything pretty. Jay, who's doing from the marketing and content development and social side, is the guy that's really coming up with the awesome text and communication and updates and everything that we're engaging with people with. I've got Chris, who's a software engineer as well, who can probably put me to shame. So he's helping with the AI integration, API development, web portal, and then of course we've got folks on the actual mechanical engineering and the industrial design. Chris, Zach, Constantine, and a few other people that we bring in as contractors. But yeah, it's been a great team, and everyone's been like really plowing through it.
We had 5 Zacs at my Kickstarter, so there's always got to be at least one, right? So you mentioned a little bit of it before, but one of the things that I think separates this is the price point. Specifically, being able to take this and be like, hey, I'm just an average guy. I don't own a store. I'd like to organize my collection. I think what right now your Kickstarter's the base Kickstarter is $400.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So we're calling it the CardMill Starter Kit. So it's $400, and you get a CardMill. You get a couple of the different trays, some perfect fit sleeves, some dividers, a few things to be able to help actually organize the cards. Because once they're cataloged and sorted through the machine, you have to put them somewhere, right? So we got to keep a couple things to help with that process as well.
Awesome. And so you mentioned there's no subscription fee or anything like that with CardMill.
That's right. Yeah. So CardMill ultimately was born out of a huge frustration for these other machines, as I mentioned earlier, that were super expensive or had these enormous recurring fees.
Yeah, because some of these can be like by scan and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah. Right. There's a lot of per scan fees. There's a lot that provide, some unlimited scanning, per month and things like that. But the per scan fees or the recurring fees is just something that never sat right with us, right?
Yeah,
So,
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and from the we've got so much technology out there, and we have so much access to cloud computing and integrated software that we can build into the device as well. That it was important for me that when we built the machine and we got into people's hands, that it was a one and done, right? It was like buy the machine and use it for all the core features, which really includes being able to scan and sort. That's the main thing, what CardMill does. So it was important for us that we didn't charge recurring fees. And I'm happy to say that for Kickstarter backers, we're able to guarantee that they'll never experience any recurring fees for being able to scan and sort their cards.
Yeah, and you also are offering like unlimited updates on this as well.
Right.
So like anytime there's a new game or something like that, that's included.
Yeah. Absolutely. So everyone that is a backer from Kickstarter and buys a machine, they're going to be able to, if we ever release a new trading card game, they'll have access to it. If we eventually, when we roll out to sports cards, which we're looking to do in mid or so 2026, they'll have access to that. So anyone who backs us on Kickstarter is going to have the benefit of really a lifetime of access and updates to the platform.
That's amazing. So how fast?
That was very important for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So how fast can CardMill sort?
So the hopper can hold 300 cards right now, and at the current rate, it takes about an hour to get through the entire hopper when sorting either alphabetically or by like a set or a color or something like that. But we are making a lot of mechanical changes to the machine as well, and we're actually going to be kicking off a lot of that this coming Tuesday. So the sled that holds the tray when it's moving, when we built the machine at first, we introduced a gear that is used very similar to a 3D printer, where it's moving up and down. And there's a lot of precision that's really required in a 3D printer. We thought that we were going to need a similar precision to be able to place cards one after another. But then after we started using it more, we realized that we don't need that level of precision. But the side effect of it was that it made the movement of the sled and movement of the tray a lot slower. And that's really what we're waiting on. Like the card gets into the machine and we're analyzing it, we're identifying it, and now we're waiting for the sled to move. So
of course, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. And it's really just because it has to do a lot of things to be able to move it, even just a little bit. So we're going to change up the way that the sled moves. And we believe that we can cut that time down into half for a full hopper. So we're thinking, like less than 45 minutes to be able to process a hopper now.
Awesome. So I have a question with all that sort of 300 cards is is a good chunk. That's about this many cards.
Mhm.
So how
Right.
do I take something that's like this, like about 1,000 cards, and integrate that 300 card? Like, what's the solution for that?
Well, the nice thing is that you don't have to start and stop. So if you have all of your cards and you're like, okay, I want to organize or scan all of these cards in this way, right? And so on the machine, you'll be able to do scan only, scan and sort, or sort only. So someone will have those three different features, and it really kind of depends on, what they're wanting to do. So someone may want to scan all of their cards in and sort by card type, or sort by color and then by type, right? But you don't necessarily want to rescan everything into the inventory,
I
because then
see.
you'll
Yeah.
have double cards, right? So what they'll be able to do is the first pass they'll do the scan function, and then subsequent passes they can do any sort of sort function that they want without the additional scanning. And as cards start getting lower, you can just keep adding cards to it. The machine's going to keep going until it detects that there's no cards in the hopper. So once it gets all the way through and there's no cards, that's when it's actually going to stop on its own. Or of course, if the tray is full and it needs to be empty. But
That's what I was going to ask. So what happens when the tray is full?
yep, well, it stops.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
yep, the machine will. It is keeping track of how many cards go into each individual slot in the bin and how many cards are in the whole bin. So it does know where it's at within the cycle of being able to fill the bin. And if it needs to put a card into a slot that is either full or that there aren't any other slots for, then it will stop, and the user will be prompted through the machine to go ahead and empty out the machine, or I'm sorry, not the machine, the sorting tray, and then they'll empty that out, hit a continue button, and keep going.
Okay. That's
It's
yeah.
actually going to be interesting. So I think in about a month or two, like maybe in like sometime in September or October. Don't know the exact date, but I'm going to do a 24-hour live stream. I'm going to have about like 5 machines out. I'm going to just have cameras on all of them. And I'm just, for 24 hours, we're just going to be scanning and sorting so people can really understand and see, the process of it. I know I'm going to be exhausted by the
Yeah.
end of it, but
I wonder how
it's going to
much it
be
would
a long
cost for
one.
me to send my library card catalog to you for that stream. Just please
We can
organize
definitely,
those,
yeah.
please. I just need that whole
Right?
thing
Yeah.
organized.
You're doing something, you're going to do it anyway, right? Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I'd be happy to take, and then, maybe that's not a bad business model. Maybe I can say, hey, send me all your cards and I'll scan and sort them for you, get them all organized for you.
Yeah, that's a whole side business someone could set up by buying a card mill, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we'll do different things like that. But if you have a lot of cards, you just keep feeding them in until you want to stop, and the machine will keep going until it can't anymore.
So let's talk about the games you currently support. So we got Magic, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh. You said you're working on One Piece is coming up.
Right.
Star Wars,
Star Wars Unlimited, Pokemon as well.
Pokemon, of
Yep.
course. Yeah.
Right. At the top of our list right now are also, like you said, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Super Card Game, Digimon, MetaZoo, Grand Archive, and Final Fantasy.
And I heard,
So those are some of the
I
most
heard through the
impressive.
grapevine you might also be offering sorcery soon as well.
Yes,
Awesome,
absolutely. So
awesome.
sorcery has, personally, I don't know a lot about sorcery, but on my Discord channel, we've been getting a ton of people asking about it. It's been one of the most requested games as well, and so absolutely. So we're going to support it. We just need time to get through our logs.
Awesome.
At this moment, we're pretty much able to support One Piece. I haven't been able to go through and finish testing it, which is why we haven't officially announced it.
I
But
see.
I'm 100% confident that we'll be able to support that along with the others for day one. And then sorcery is definitely going to get into that list as well. And I think the next thing I need to do is just buy a whole bunch of cards,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the draw of this is like now
Right,
you have to buy a
right,
bunch of different card games and
right,
maybe learn them. You know, there's
right. Yeah,
there's a thing in role playing games that I don't know if there's a word. There should be like a German word for this about buying like a role playing game book that you really don't intend to play, but you just like love the idea of doing it with the
yeah,
idea of that one day maybe you'll get your group together and play this game. This is sort of the same thing
yeah.
for collectible card games. I have a
Right.
box of Wyvern cards from like the 90s, like a literal
Okay.
sealed box. I'm like,
Yeah.
one day I'll learn how to play Wyvern.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And maybe if you're not sitting here having to scan and sort all your cards online, you'll actually have time to be
Yeah,
able to
have
do
time to
that.
do it.
Right. Yeah, but we're excited. We're going to be rolling out a whole bunch of trading card games, and they'll just keep coming as soon as we can get to them.
That's awesome. And again, those are all like just included in the updates. Like that's
That's
like
right.
every time a new card game comes out, somebody who's done the Kickstarter just gets that card game as an added bonus of things that they can now sort on their card mill.
That's right.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the target audience, because we obviously know, we've been talking about collectors, people who play collectible card games, stuff like that. But this could also be like a shop solution, or on like even a vendor at like a con or something like that could pick one of these up and just have it sorting while they're while they're buying cards and working on stuff. So that seems like a cool like solution for a lot of different use cases.
Well, absolutely, and I'm glad that you brought up the idea about some conventions that traders will be at, because I know that a lot of times stores or will go and people will come with a whole box of cards that they want to potentially sell. And I know a lot of them, they're very good at just flipping through real quickly and finding the exact cards they need. But it could be an opportunity for them to get those cards and start organizing them right when they're there without having to wait till they get back, or if they want to be able to price out a whole collection and something that can connect and provide them that information pretty much real time, right? And again, I know a lot of these companies, they do a really, really good job, and they know exactly what they're looking for. But it's something that we're hoping that CardMill can just help to support and supplement for trading, for really the whole trading card industry as it stands. Everyone from shops to collectors to the everyday player. Our target has really grown a lot, and we've seen that there's a lot of people that really could benefit from a tool like this. And so there's a lot of potential upside in a lot of different scenarios for people to be able to use the tool.
I'm looking forward to the day when when every bulk box I go to at a Magic Con is sorted by like color and
Oh yeah,
alphabetized. Like that would be
right,
amazing.
right. And wouldn't that be great? I mean, like just think about it, right? If you go and you're like, that like, oh, I need whatever, these 5 cards, and you're not sitting there shuffling through 5,000 cards. You just go straight to the letter N. For some reason you need to negate, because I guess in Magic they haven't made enough of them, right?
Yeah.
But you can just go and you can just grab them, right? So there's a lot of ways I think that it's going to help to streamline a lot of actions for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like I mentioned my card catalog before, but I have it set to like several different, like I've got the sort me boxes, right? But then I have like EDH just by color, like just okay, blue, red, green, the whole thing. But then I also have like just legacy playables, just modern playables.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's so many
Yep.
use cases that like this is going to be able to fix, so that I can go into my box and be like, okay, like I might only have like 300 or 400 cards in my blue legacy part that I just need alphabetized. Now I can find them
Yeah.
again, right?
Right.
Like,
Well, and that's the thing. It's not that it's it. So it may not be too hard to go through a stack of like 300 or 400 cards and pull out the 2 cards that you need, right? But when you're doing that over and over and over again, that's really where the time suck comes. And
yeah,
that's really where when you have something that's optimized and you actually have your stuff really organized, you can really get to it a lot quicker, and saving like 2 3 4 minutes 10 15 20 times a week, it adds up. It gives you a lot of your time.
yeah. And not to mention, every time I'm building a deck, like I swear, I'm like, I swear to God, I know I have this card.
Yeah,
Where did I put it?
right.
You know,
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
I don't want to
absolutely.
buy another $50 like Urza Saga. I know it exists somewhere. Where's that?
I can't tell you how many times I've gone to build a deck and I'm like, I know I have this card, and I'm sitting there for hours trying, shuffling through, finding like all of these cards. And then I realize, I'm like, it's a 10-cent card. So then I just go and I
Just
just
buy
buy
it.
it,
Yeah.
right? Right. I'm like, I'll just buy it and I'll pay the dollar shipping, and I won't have to go and like look through this. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. But me, I'm building decks all the time. I've got well over 100 decks. And I play Commander mostly myself, but I have well over 100 decks, and I'm constantly wanting to build more, and constantly going and I'm ruffling through my cards, pulling all this stuff out. But if I had a non-digital catalog that tells me everything that I have in my entire collection. Now I really would know if I actually have the cards, and then I don't have to go spending hours trying to find the cards.
And
Right? I know where they are. I can grab them right when I need them, and my deck is built in 15 minutes maybe versus hours. I don't know.
yeah. And the other thing is, when you're selling cards, now you know what you have and where it is to get rid of it, you know?
Right.
That was a huge thing for me when I moved from New York to Philly. I sold a ton of stuff from my collection. So I had to go through everything, and I made enough to put like a down payment on a house,
Oh, wow.
which is, I mean, what hobby ever does that, right? It's pretty wild. I'm sure I spent
Yeah.
way more over the course of time on Magic cards than I did like getting it back. But you know, that allows you to, it saves you a lot of time, one, but also it just makes it easier to organize and show, and you know what you have, you know what it costs. You know, it just makes everything so much easier when you're going to try and get rid of cards as well.
Yep. Yeah, the ability to just cut out any of that extra extraneous stuff that, like, quite frankly, like I don't think I've met anyone that actually enjoys doing that, right? You know, being able, like, having to sit there and ruffle through. Sure, it's fun and all, but after a while, it's like, okay, I want this one card. Just give me my card.
Yeah, and it's hell on your back too. Like sitting over
It
this.
is.
Yeah,
Right.
the number of times I've been like, I'm just going to organize everything, and then like an hour later, I stand up and I'm like, oh my god, why did I do this to
Right.
myself?
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, yeah, when we moved into our current home, I had about like 4 or 5, 6 and 8 foot tables just all across my basement, you know, really trying to catalog and organize everything so I could understand what it was. And I was just like, oh my God, this is intense. And, you know, at the time I didn't have a card mill, so I couldn't do anything with it. But that's would have been the perfect time for me to be able to do that, to be able to get everything organized and have it nice and neatly put away and everything.
We're really looking at a utopian future where everyone has one of these and no one has to sort through cards anymore.
Yeah, right. But isn't that the dream though? Isn't
It
that
is.
what they've been telling us, that computers are going to take over the world and take over our jobs? I'm like, that sounds great. I would love for a computer to take my job, and I just want to go hang out on the beach, play some Magic, right?
Yeah.
Play some cards.
As long as I
Like,
still get
it sounds
paid.
wonderful. Exactly. Yeah. Well, there's that part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, those are like, you know, I want a computer to be able to like do my laundry, sort my Magic cards, you know,
Yeah.
do the dishes,
Yeah.
right? I'll do my job, you know, like I'll do that stuff, you know, but the stuff that like the mundane stuff, like that an AI could deal with, that's the stuff that will actually make our lives better. Sorting cards is a huge chunk of time for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. It's very the Jetsons of you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
But yes, I'm very personally, I'm very excited to be able to get the card mill out to everyone, get everyone testing it out, playing with it, and really, really being able to ultimately get their time back from being able to and go and play cards or go to that beach, right? And build those decks that they want. Really, not have to sit there and like ruffle through everything. And I think that at the end of the day, it's also a great tool for anyone that, like, as they're buying, maybe they buy a new box, or Edge of Eternities for Magic just came out, or is pre-release weekend this weekend, right? How many people have tons and loads of cards that would be great. Just pass them through. Now everything's organized, and now you can move on with your day.
Yeah, every time a new set
We'll
comes out,
there.
I try and pick up a box. It's like, if that could just be organized, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if they could just send them to us organized, that might be a little bit easier. But
right?
then we'd lose.
Just give me a play set of everything. Let's go. So when will this ship? The Kickstarter launched last week. We're in the middle of July right now, the end of July, let's say, and you're looking to ship this relatively soon, right?
We are, yeah. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. So we are going to be doing some mechanical updates to the system that we are kicking off this coming week, and then we're going to start basically manufacturing and tooling and getting everything together and getting the machines built out. And being a software engineer, testing is always something that I'm like, we never do enough of anywhere. So if anyone's like, what about testing, it's like, I would love to spend the next 3 months testing it, right? So we're going to be doing tons and tons of testing, and then I'm hoping to get everything start shipping in December. And we are a startup, and there are sometimes delays that
Of
come with
course, yeah.
manufacturing projects, but we're hoping to mitigate them as much as possible. Especially that we're kicking off a lot of the processes now that we were going to wait until after the Kickstarter to do. We're going to do those now, and our hope is to be able to mitigate and work through any potential delays and challenges. We'll kind of see where everything goes. We'll keep everyone who backs us on Kickstarter. We'll keep everyone well informed and updated on progress and timelines and everything like that. And we'll try to be as transparent as we can to keep everyone informed. But yes, our hope is to try to start shipping out machines before the end of the year.
Amazing. And you can always send me one to help me. I'll get testing. I'll get testing immediately.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Yeah, I know you've got cards, so
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have the fodder with which to to be sorted for sure. Well, Jonathan, this is again. Thanks for coming on. This is a really cool product, and I think that like there's not a person who plays collectible card games, Magic, Pokemon, you name it, that doesn't need something like this.
Yeah.
For their collection.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I completely agree. And the Kickstarter, we're just under a weekend as of recording this, so there's still 3 weeks left to go, but it's going to be running until August 21st. So 9 a.m. on August 21st, and then there's a lot of exciting stuff that's coming from our stretch goals that we're going to be announcing and releasing kind of as we hit like all of those individual milestones. So it's going to be a really exciting ride.
Awesome. Now, there's probably like QR code around here somewhere for people to click for that. But if you're listening on audio or whatever, you go to cardmill.com, and there's probably a link right there to the Kickstarter as well, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So they can go to cardmill.com, but they can go to cardmill.com slash eternal dirtles.
Perfect.
And that'll redirect folks over to the Kickstarter. But yes, I think you have a QR code as well for anyone to scan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that does it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Jonathan, once again, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.